Hello friends, welcome to BISP Solutions. Myself Ashwin and I work as a technical consultant at BISP Solutions. BISP Solutions is a tech company and provide technological solutions across the world. So here is a 3-day webinar we have arranged to explain you how data is migrated from QuickBooks to NetSuite. Now this is our first day webinar. In this webinar I am going to show you that what's today's agenda. First of all, just give me a second. Okay, now this is our first day webinar and we are going to see that how the data is migrated from QuickBooks to NetSuite. So in today's webinar I will show you how information is gathered. Second, that is what is the project objective, and then the documentation, then final takeaway, and then migration process. So today I will show you just the complete process, right? And then in our tomorrow and day after tomorrow webinar, I will show you the technical and practical part, how it works, right? So now let's start. So our first step is let's take a problem objective, right? Project objective and information gathering. Now objective is to migrate the data from QuickBooks to NetSuite. Let's take a scenario. It's a real life scenario that our client is working in America, and that client has opened a subsidiary in India, right? Now QuickBooks work in America only. Now they need an ERP which is cloud-based and which should be cloud-based and it should help them. So this opted for NetSuite. Now NetSuite, why NetSuite? Because NetSuite support Indian accounting system also. So here is now our role comes. So we are here to migrate the data from QuickBooks to NetSuite, right? So now before doing the migration, there are certain steps that what we should do first, because directly we can't start with data extraction and data migration, right? So now what we are doing here, first of all we will create a BRD. Now BRD means business requirement document. Now here business requirement document, it's a document first that explains you exactly what the current procedure is and what we are going to offer you, right? Business document. Why? Because whenever a big project starts, so in that case, first of all the BRD is created, right? Just give me a second. Okay. Now, so our first step is to create the BRD, right? Now BRD generation. Now first of all, what's BRD? Business requirement document. Now what is BRD? First of all, see, cost benefit analysis. BRD is designed to keep everything crystal clear. For example, I am going to migrate the data from QuickBooks to NetSuite for a company. Now, first of all, I have to design a document in which I have to tell them that I have to mention that what is your current process and what's I am going to offer you. So this is called business requirement document, right? So including a cost benefit analysis of your project in your BRD is optional, but may help you gain approval from stakeholders. Stakeholder means all those persons, all those higher authorities which are going to monitor your work, because ultimately they will be the end user of the application. So now the analysis will help stakeholder compare the total expected cost against the total expected benefits. This is all about the higher authorities, what they will take the decision. So that is why BRD is necessary. Now how the BRD is created. Now see, top 5 tips for writing the perfect BRD. I am going to show you. See, whenever working technically is good, but every IT professional must have the skill to write the BRD also, or the documentation skills, right? Because everything goes in written, right? Everything should be on record. So that is why we are creating one BRD, business requirement document. Now, first of all, practice effective requirement elicitation. The very first requirement of BRD is that you should know that exactly what the requirement is and how we are going to offer them the solution, right? And how that solution will be beneficial for them. So that's the first point that every person should know. Even if you write an impressive BRD, it won't be effective if you have not identified and documented all the requirements necessary. That's what I am telling you, that whatever the requirements, necessary requirements, you should be able to draft them on a document. To ensure your BRD is complete and cohesive, you will need to apply proper elicitation method. Explanation method should be proper, that where you are lacking, what's your difficulties, what's your facing problem. So everything should be defined there. Then brainstorming, document analysis, interface analysis, focus groups, prototyping, all these are the steps, right? You could use all 9 or select few, but you will certainly need to incorporate multiple approaches. See, first of all, you should be able to write exactly what the requirement is, right? Then you have to write down exactly what we are going to offer you and why our whatever we are offering, how that would be beneficial for you, right? So that is our first point. Second tip. Second is use clear language without jargon. See, whatever, suppose I'm a NetSuite consultant, right? Now, while talking with a common man, if I say that, oh, today 5 SOs are created, only 5 SOs are, now he will never know that what is SO. If I say sales order, then he will come to know, okay, he is talking about sales order. So, while writing BRD, don't use jargons or keywords. Use very simple language. Requirement documents are often long and text heavy, that is true, to prevent confusion or misinterpretation. Many times, suppose I am working for a company, right, client company. Now inside that client company, only 10 to 15 people, those who are highly qualified, highly educated, but remaining are just graduates. And they work on Excel sheet or any other applications, right? So they don't come across those heavy jargons and keywords in their daily life. So definitely we should use very simple language. Keep in mind that multiple stakeholders will use this document and not all of them will be technically minded, right? Because every person work on his own comfort zone, right? So that is why you should not be using very difficult jargons or keywords, right? It is only for higher level and technical level. By keeping your language clear, you can ensure everyone can understand it. Okay, third point. So this is our second point, that how the BRD should be written. Now our third point is research past projects. Now research past projects means what? See, whenever we write a BRD, it should be in a proper format. Just writing down each and everything, that's not the proper way. You should be able to write down exactly what is the executive summary, then what is the basic problem, then you should write what is our in scope, what is our out scope. There should be a standard format, right? And secondly, research past project means whatever you have written in your past projects, or whatever the format you have used, which was very much user friendly. So you should be able to write a proper BRD. The great way to jump start your document process is to research similar project your organization has completed in the past. Review the documentation for those projects and use those insights to help you identify requirements and other key points to include in your BRD. So these projects can also help your team justify certain requirement based on successful past results. Same thing is there while writing a new project BRD. You should be analyzing those past projects BRDs also, and after that very carefully you should write the BRD. I will show you an example BRD during this session so that you will have an idea. Then next point is validate the documentation. Validate the documentation means once you have finished writing the requirement, have a subject matter expert and the project stakeholder review it. See, whenever I write something, right, then it is very mandatory to get it validated from your higher senior authority. Same thing is there. Whenever I write a project business requirement document, it should be validated by the project stakeholder. Now stakeholders means the employee of the client company, the employee of your client, because he is the basic, he is the end user of this application, right? That NetSuite we are talking about. So he will be the ground user. He will be the end user of that project. So he should be having complete idea that exactly what we are offering them. Because in many projects it was seen that the higher authorities, they said okay, the BRD is okay and everything is okay, and at the end, when the end users were involved for the training, they put the questions, they raised the objections that why this thing is done in this way, because we are habitual with that proper procedure, and this procedure is obsolete, this is not used nowadays. So that is why all the stakeholders, they should validate that document. Yeah, okay, this is what we are requiring, right? This step is crucial to creating a successful BRD. Without it, you risk missing key requirements and leaving critical errors. See, suppose if I write down a BRD, right, and if I show this BRD to any end user, he is a graduate only, right? He is only a graduate. Now, if he read that document, definitely he might suggest something that yeah, this point is missing or that point is missing. So before going to higher authorities, that document should be viewed by all the stakeholders. Stakeholder means the end user of the client company. So this is how the BRD is written. These are the 5 tips that I am telling you. 4 tips, right? Now, another is, yeah, that's the 5th tip. Include visuals. Include visuals. Now, why include visuals? Let me give you an example. See, higher authorities, they are habitual of reading large documents, right? Higher authorities, they are having the habit of reading long text and newspapers and novels, everything. So that's why they are having no problem with reading text heavy document. But the end user, he might not be habitual with that. So instead of writing heavy text, you should be able to draw a flow chart, and then that flow chart or that process flow diagram should be included in that BRD, right? Okay, so now that is why visuals, include visuals in the BRD means, although BRD tend to be text heavy in nature, right? Visuals play an important role in presenting and clarifying information and making the document more user friendly. Right? Break up walls of text with data visualization such as process flow and scope model. That is what I am explaining you, that process flow diagrams are necessary. Flowcharts are necessary. One of the most common diagram for BRD is business process diagram. This diagram visualizes a workflow process and how it relates to your business requirement. Depending on how complex your documentation is, you can use the process diagram to present high level processes or drill down into more comprehensive and detailed processes. Okay, now let me show you an example of BRD, right? Business documents. Let's come here. I think here it is open. Here is. See here. Whatever I have explained you just now, see. Use visuals. First of all, there should be a format, right? There should be a format of writing the document, right? Then this revision history, then the review and the approvals, then the table of content, right? You can see all these. This is a standard structure of writing BRD. Second point, what I was explaining here is use clear-cut language without any jargon. Use clear language. Let me show you that. Suppose here I have written like project scope. Project scope, I have clearly written that importing closing trial balances, that is YTD PTD, last 2 years only. Everything should be crystal clear that we have already written here. What is in scope and then what is out scope. What we are not providing, that should also be written. That licensing and subscription cost and other expenses will be bear by the client. So instead of using jargons, it is required to write the very simple language, right? So that is what recommended. Then research past project means since the very first time the BRD is not perfect. If you have the idea of writing the BRD from the last projects, so that would be much beneficial. Then validating the document with the end user. And then the fifth point is include visuals. I have used here the visuals. See here. Where is that? This process flow designs. What is the current process and what we are offering them. So this is how using the visuals will help a lot, that what is your current process and then the order to cash process in QB, right? And order to cash what we are providing you. So this is how the complete procedure works. So that is why these are the 5 tips of how to write effective BRD. Now why new ERP is required? See here, company is using QuickBooks. Now in this, what we are going to see. Now this BRD is complete, right? I will again show you some more points that are used to write in BRD. First, let's see this. Company is using QuickBooks. Now due to some limitations, company is switching to ERP, right? NetSuite. Now terms used during migration. First of all, how migration is done, that I am giving you an idea that how migration is done. How migration is done: extraction of CSV files from source, that is the QuickBooks, right? First of all, the very first step. This is the action step. Before this, analysis, brainstorming, everything is done. Everything, each and every step of system development life cycle is used here. So first point is extraction of CSV files from source. Now it could be the metadata, the company information, the master data, everything, right? Internal staging area. Internal staging area means whatever the extracted data is CSV files, right? Now that would be kept somewhere. Now that place is called the staging area. Now here in IT context, it's a folder in SharePoint, right? In cloud area where all the folders are kept. So in this context, we are using it as what is internal staging area. That is a folder which is that the client is having the access, and our technical and functional team is also having the access. They provide you the access. So the client's consultant the consultant will download all the CSV files of all the master data and all the metadata, everything, right? Company information, all transaction information. Near about 50 to 60 CSV files are downloaded. So that they are kept in internal staging area. Now internal staging area means it's a folder, right? That's it. Now then what we will do, we will map the files. First of all, we will take the data of that external CSV file, right? Now we will see that how exactly that file looks like. Let me show you with an example again. I will show you an example here, business documents, and then here we will go here and then vendor. Let's take an example of vendor. Now here vendor list QuickBook. Okay, I am opening this vendor list file. Now see here, from QuickBook the vendor list is given. Now it looks something like this. So definitely now this file as it is can't be uploaded in the NetSuite, right? We can't upload the same file as it is in NetSuite. So what we have to do, we have to create another file which can be uploaded in NetSuite. That means we have to make some changes, we have to make some transformations in this file, and then it would be ready to upload in the NetSuite. What those changes? First of all, remove this AB column, then remove this D column, then remove this F. Now it's a quite manual work, right? It's a manual intervention work. So there is a chance of error. Now instead of this, what we will do, we will create some macros and we will create some button. That is the practical task. I will show you in our next session. So look at this vendor mapping NS, vendor mapping NS. Now if I hit this button, definitely all these columns will be removed. I will show you the practical part also this. But right now just focus on this, that mapping file. We have to make a mapping file. In that mapping file, what we will do, we will again, let's take this vendor mapping list here. Now this mapping file, see here, source ERP QuickBook vendor data. These are the headers of source file, right? And here these are the fields which are used in NetSuite. Now most of the time the fields are most commonly equal, right? So that is why we will map same as it is, but here at the end main subsidiary field is also there. So this main subsidiary field we have added in the list. So we will do this mapping in such a way that the developer will replace all the fields, all the headers. This is the source, right? And this is the data. So what we will do, we will take the data from the source and replace the headers with the target and remove all unnecessary columns, unnecessary blank rows, everything. It will be done by macro, and then we will just hit this button, everything will be up to date, right? So this is how it's done. Then mapping, then the transformation data. So data will be transformed, and then external staging area will be done. So external staging area means upload files. So external staging area means now whatever we have done, we have transformed the file completely, right? Then we have transformed the file completely. Then this transformed file will be kept in external staging area. So external staging area is another folder, because we directly can't tamper the downloaded file by the client, right? We can't tamper those files. So what we will do, we will just download those files in our laptop, and then we will make some changes and create another file, and then we will upload those files onto the server. That is another folder on the SharePoint, and that SharePoint, from there our functional developer, because this is the task of technical developer, so technical developer will just upload these files in the SharePoint folder, and then these files will be uploaded with the help of functional developer. Just give me a second. Okay. Now our 1 minute please. Now what happens? Let's go to the next point. So this is the requirement, and this we all know that due to some limitations we are moving. Now what is documentation and why it is required? See, documentation is required that each and everything should be kept on record, right? Now there are 3 to 5 types of documentation which are required. Normally there are n numbers of document. It depends on company to company, client to client. There could be n number of documents. Either there could be 5 documents, there could be 10 documents, there could be a number of, that is not defined. Now BRD means business requirement document. Functional design document is another. There, that how the functional works. Then third is technical design document. Technical design document, it shows that how script is working. Then high level document. High level document means how the data will go from this place to that place, and then ultimately the low level design document, complete depth document, right? It will show everything in depth. So there are n numbers of documents which are used for creation, because everything is kept on record, because we have to take the what we say sign off from the client also, client and user. So that is why there could be one more document, that design verification document, UI verification document, that whatever UI they were using in QuickBooks, the same UI we have created in the NetSuite. So there could be so many documents. So the main thing is that you should be able to write the document, right? Then steps to implement NetSuite, right? Now step to implement NetSuite. What are those steps to implement NetSuite? First of all, project initiation. There are some certain steps which are used to implement NetSuite. Directly we can't move without any plan that just download sales order data and immediately I will upload them. That's not the correct process. First of all, project initiation. Define project objectives, scope and success criteria, right? What are the objectives and what scope means what we are going to provide, and whatever we are not going to provide, then it should be directly written in the BRD. Establish a project team comprising key stakeholders, subject matter expert and implementation partner. Your project team should also be there. There should be a project team and each and every team member should be defined their work, and that team member should be introduced with the stakeholders and subject matter expert, because many times what happens, the requirement is directly explained to the developer or the consultant. So that's why the team member should also be introduced with the client. Then conduct a preliminary assessment of the company's existing system. Again the same thing, preliminary assessment of the company's existing, whatever the existing they are using system, right? Process and data to identify requirement and potential challenges. What type of challenges we are going to face during this project. So these are the steps of project initiation, right? Then second point is planning and preparation. Now develop a detailed project plan, outline tasks, timelines, dependencies and resource required to each phase of the implementation. now many times what happens, suppose the client said that we want to integrate our NetSuite with my Python project also, because Python website they have been using for the last 20 years and now they don't want to retire that Python website. So definitely a Python resource will be required. So all these things should be planned at the initial level, that one Python resource will be required, one Excel sheet resource will be required, because many times the developers they might not be knowing about pivot, how to create the pivot or how to create the VLOOKUP. So definitely one Excel expert should also be there. So these things we should be analyzing at the starting of the project. Identify and prioritize business process to be migrated to NetSuite. Whatever the business process, what they are wanting to migrate. Then considering factors such as criticality, complexity and impact on operation. What type of critical things that we are going to face, because many times suppose if we are migrating journal record to another the sandbox instance, then what type of format is required. Many times the format is not clear, because these things they are designed on the spot. You might have seen any flyover during the construction. So the engineers they keep a welding machine also at the along with them, because whatever is required, everything is not pre-designed, right? So that is the same thing is here. Just like those construction workers, they keep welding machine along with them. Same thing here. We keep all the formats, and many times the formats are designed on the spot, because every format is not available, right? So NetSuite ensuring data quality, integrity and compatibility with NetSuite's data model, right? Now define roles and responsibilities within the project team, including key stakeholders, project manager. Every person should be given his own responsibility. For example, data validation, it will be done by that particular candidate, or the technical check or the technical validation will be done by the technical person. And who should it approach? For example, technical consultant he has done his technical analysis. Now, who should he approach from the client? So it should be defined each and everything. So that is why planning and preparation is required. Then conducting training session for the project team to familiarize them with NetSuite feature, functionalities and implementation best practices. At the end, suppose everything is done. For example, now this training session is also not done one time. It's also a recurring process. For example, we have implemented order to cash module, right? In my last project, I have implemented order to cash module. Now in that, after implementation of order to cash module, what we have done, we have again conducted a meeting, and then a training session was going on, that this is how the sales order is created, this is how it is approved, then this is how the item fulfillment is done, and every process was explained to the client. Why? Because when the client employee will see the project during the development, he should be able to connect him with that project more easily, right? Finally, the ultimate cooked product, if you put in front of them, it would be difficult for them to digest. So that's why during the project development, you should involve all those clients, employees in training session, right? Then configuration and customization. As I said, configuration and customization. Configuring NetSuite to align, first of all, GL implementation is done, then master data is done, then master data metadata is implemented. So configure NetSuite to align with the company's business requirement, including setting up GL, general ledger account, tax code, subsidiaries, user roles. These all things are the very first steps. Customize NetSuite to accommodate unique business process workflows. Now the form should also be what they are habitual with. They should look like the same as they were using for the last 20 years. Then the workflows and the reporting requirements using Suite Builder, Suite Flow, Suite Script, everything, right? Then integrate NetSuite with other system and applications used by the company such as CRM. That means whatever the customization, I am not saying that all these things should be done mandatorily, but whatever things they have demanded, we have to do the same thing. If they demand integration, then we have to do the integration with the help of API. If they demanded for CRM, then we have to implement CRM also. So it is like that. Then testing and quality assurance. Testing and quality assurance means, for example, testing and quality, we have implemented order to cash. Now testing, that it should be tested from all the way, because suppose a sales order can be created individually one by one, cash sales also created, then RMA is also there under order to cash, then CSV upload, then mass updates. All these are the ways to insert sales orders, right, in a NetSuite. So these are different ways. So definitely they should be validated functionally as well as technically. So that is why testing and quality assurance should be very tight, very secured, so that in future there should be no error, right? So develop test cases and scenarios to validate NetSuite functionality. Now test cases, there are so many test cases. For example, sales order creation test case, then item fulfillment test case, then the invoice creation test case. Test case means whatever the steps that you are doing, whether they are working as desired or not, right? So data integrity, performance across different modules and business processes, conduct comprehensive testing, right? Then including unit testing, integration testing, user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing means what? So UAT is conducted once the technical person has done his testing, then functional consultant has also done his testing, then functional and technical, they both sit together and then they arrange a training session with the client, and during that session they ask client employee that, yeah, now you should execute this, and then we will see. So that is called the UAT. Once the client is satisfied, then your UAT is successful. Engage end user and stakeholder in UAT to ensure that NetSuite meets their requirement and expectations before going live. So stakeholders and end user, there are two things. One is stakeholders, that means the supervisor, the higher authorities. End user means the person who practically works. For example, in a company, the person who prepares sales orders, or who generates sales orders daily, 1000 sales orders daily. So that is called the end user. The supervisor and the CEO and the planning person, they are kind of stakeholders, they are on higher level, right? Then the data migration comes. See, once you have designed the form, okay, then once you have implemented all the necessary information inside that NetSuite, once you have tested with one manual data entry and then the data is inserted successfully, once you have tested the CSV upload and that CSV upload is uploaded successfully, once you have done the mass updations using the mass updation script and that mass updation is done successfully, then once you have tested all the test cases, right, now everything from every point of view, it is done. Now the thing comes data migration. This is our main focus point. Data migration means, suppose the data from the source system, that is the QuickBooks, and that data is to be implemented in NetSuite, to be migrated in NetSuite. Now suppose there are last 2 years data, right? So 1 lakh sales orders are there. Let's take an example, 1 lakh sales orders are there. Now 1 lakh sales orders are there within the last 2 years. So now how you will upload those sales order? Now comes the feature that is ETL. Let's see data. We are in 16th. Okay, 16th slide. Here is ETL. What is ETL? Now ETL means exactly what? Extract, transform, load. Extract, transform and load means extract the data. Now after extraction data, that data is not meaningful and useful for us, as I have already shown you one example of vendor which was extracted from QuickBooks. See, this data, it is just extracted, right? And when I will hit this button, then it will be transformed and then it will be ready to upload. So that is called extract, transform and load. So this is the load. Now extract, transform and load. Okay, so ETL, that is why ETL process is done. Now extract, transform, load. Now there are two procedures, two methodologies. One is lift and shift. Lift and shift means just download the data Excel sheet and then immediately upload that data Excel sheet into the NetSuite. Second procedure is extract, transform and load, ETL. So extract, transform and load means from legacy system into NetSuite using data migration tools, scripts and manual process. There are so many tools using for this, but right now we are talking about downloading CSV and then uploading it after transformation of data. Now cleanse and validate migrated data to ensure accuracy, completeness and consistency with NetSuite data model and business rules. Perform data reconciliation and validation check to verify the integrity of migrated data and resolve any discrepancy. Same thing is explained here. Extract the data, transform the data. It's a technical part. I will explain you tomorrow or in our last session. Then after that, validate also. You have to validate that data, because many times during transformation some important information is deleted. In that case, so we will do some type of testing, that validation test, that is called validation. Validation means whatever, for example, the sum of all the sales order amount of this particular month, February, is like $20,50,000, right? So same thing should be appearing in the newly transformed Excel sheet, right? So that is called validation, that during the transformation none of the data should be tampered. So that is called validation check. And this validation is very, very important. That means validations are done in 2-3 stages of the migrations process. First, when we extract and transform the data, this is the first point, right? When we validate the data. Then after uploading this data into the NetSuite sandbox, that is the second point when we validate the data. Because whether the data is uploaded, for example, in February month on your Excel sheet, 20 lakh, February month, the revenue is of sales order is $20,50,000. Now, after uploading that data into the sandbox of NetSuite, same amount should be shown. So how that will be done, I will explain you in tomorrow's session. And then after that, once the data is validated in sandbox, then it will be migrated to production. It will be moved to production. Again, in the production also the same data will be migrated. That in sandbox it was showing 20,50,000 in the February month revenue. Same thing should be reflected into the production part. So that is called validation check at every point. So these are the 2-3 points where we do the validation check, right? Okay, so our next step is training and change management. See, once the data is uploaded into the sandbox, then what happens? We provide the training, because maximum time the client is not familiar with the NetSuite environment. He might press any button, right? Because he never know the procedure. So in that case, what happened? Training and change management. Develop a training plan and materials to educate end users. Now, develop a training plan and materials. Materials means user guide. User guide to educate end users on how to use NetSuite effectively for their day-to-day task and responsibility. Because if you directly offer them that, yeah, this is a NetSuite, these are your credentials, now from tomorrow you will be generating sales order on NetSuite, so he will get scared, because for the last 20 years he was using either the website or the Excel sheet. Now immediately, so that's not possible that implement directly to user. So you have to provide the training plan, and to educate them you have to provide the user guide, and give them sufficient time to absorb all the steps written in the user guide. Then conduct a training session and workshop to end users to familiarize them with NetSuite features, navigation and best practices. Then implement change management strategies to address organizational change, mitigate resistance and promote adoption. Change management means one more document is created, change management document. Now what is change management document? See, at the initial level, whatever the requirements are written in the BRD, that is okay, that they are written in the BRD. But during the projects, many times, almost every time, the client, they demanded some more changes in that, and you can't deny the client. So you have, but this will take time, resources, and of course that extra time, extra billing. So that's why all these changes are written in a change management document, that because it should be on record that apart from your BRD, these are the changes that your management has asked us to do. So that's why, because if the client reaches up to deadline, so you should be having something to show that, yeah, this is why we were delayed, right? So that's why change management document is also prepared. So that's why training and change management. And then go live and post implementation support. Once everything is explained to the client that, yeah, this is how the modules are working and this is how you create the report and everything, right? Now the data is now go live means once the data from the sandbox is moved to the production instance. Now in production instance, again one more testing session is organized with the client employees, and with them one more test, user training session is done. And once they are satisfied, once they give the okay or the green flag that, yeah, we are okay with it, then this is called the go live. Then this data is now ready, and from tomorrow they are ready to work on NetSuite. And post implementation support. Now again the post implementation support. What is post implementation support? Post implementation means the support that is given after the implementation of the project. Many times during the live production instance, in the production instance, what happens, the user stuck somewhere, or the user is not getting the accurate result which is desired. So in that case, the functional consultant, they have to provide the support also. So provide post implementation support to end user, addressing questions, resolving. These are called the tickets. See, tickets are different thing. Tickets are created after the project is implemented. So they are raising the tickets, right? So addressing questions, resolving issues, and providing ongoing training and guidance as needed. Conduct regular reviews and assessment of NetSuite usage and performance, identifying areas for improvement and optimization, right? So you have to there should be a scope after the go live and post implementation, that what else we can do. So this is how the complete procedure takes place. And of course the continuous improvement, established process for capturing feedback. Once they have started working on it, then you should take the feedback, continuous feedback. It will help to both. One is the service providing company, in which the consultant will get more updates feedback from the user and stakeholders, incorporate lesson learned, and making continuous improvement to NetSuite configuration, customization, and usage. Because next time when you will implement NetSuite to any client, so you should be prepared 200% than the previous, right? So stay updated on new features, updates, and best practices released by NetSuite, leveraging them to enhance system capabilities and efficiency and user experience over time, right? So these are called the complete steps. Let's have a quick recap. First of all, project initiation, then planning and preparation, and then the configuration and customization, then testing and quality assurance, then data migration, then training and change management, then go live and post implementation, and then support, and then continuous improvement. So there should always be a scope of continuous improvement. Now, what are the key takeaways? Now, key takeaways means what are the steps or what are the considerations that you should take in your mind during the implementation of a project. See, project implementation is not an easy task, because on every step you will be facing some difficulties or some errors, right? So all those things that you should take in mind. That the final takeaway in NetSuite implementation encompasses several key aspects that contributes to the success of the project and ongoing benefits realized by the organization. So first is alignment with business objective. Ensure that the NetSuite implementation aligns closely with the company's strategic goals and objective. That means all your reporting format, all your reports, are they appropriately aligned with their goals and objectives? The implemented solution should support the organization goals, growth, efficiency, and competitive advantage, right? Second part is process optimization. See, use the implementation as an opportunity to review and optimize existing business process. Leverage NetSuite's capabilities to streamline workflow, automate repetitive tasks, and improve operational. You have to take care of this, that every time, on every step, you have to take care that whether the process is repetitive, then we should better make it automatic. Whether the process is manual each time, is it time consuming, then it is better to put a workflow in instead, right? So process optimization thing, your team should always work on process optimization. Then data accuracy and integrity. Data accuracy and integrity means prioritize data accuracy and integrity throughout the implementation process. For example, the format of the numbers, like 2 lakh, 200, 000. So what type of format they are using, right? If any error is there, if any wrong data is inserted, then the error should not be shown. Then thoroughly cleanse, validate, and migrate data to NetSuite, ensuring that it is consistent, reliable, and aligned. Many times what happens, the company for the last 20 years, they are writing the address something like this. Let me show you with an example. For example, in one of my project, the address of the user was written like this. Address, right? Street number 25, 23 underscore, and then the star, and then like behind the police headquarters, right? It was written something like this. So now directly you can't upload such type of data directly in NetSuite. So what you need to do, cleansing the data. Data accuracy and integrity means you have to cleanse and polish the data, massage the data, right? Now again here data scientist will be required, or the data science expert will be required, because all these things will be done with the help of Pandas library. So Pandas library will help you. So one data science developer is also needed. Validate and migrate data to NetSuite, ensuring that it is consistent, reliable. Okay. Next is use adoption and training. Invest in comprehensive user training and change management initiative to ensure high level of user adoption and satisfaction. User adoption is most important, because once the end user of the client, they are happy, then your half work will be done. So immediately that project will come to an end before time, right? Because once the end user is satisfied, so they say that yeah, it's okay, and then immediately you can implement all the data, or you can migrate the data. So user adoption and training is most important key, right, to success. Then let's see here, continuous improvement. View the NetSuite implementation as an ongoing journey rather than one-time project. It's not an one-time project. Today you are implementing NetSuite for one client, tomorrow you will be implementing NetSuite for another client. So establish process for continuous improvement. Process means first who will create the BRD, then after that BRD who will validate that, from that validation point where it should be directed. So system optimization to adapt to evolving business needs to maximize return on investment, right? Then the vendor relationship. Everything depends on vendor relationship. Maintain a strong relationship with the NetSuite vendor or implementation partner throughout the implementation and beyond. Why? Because leverage their expertise, and because every time every year the technology changes itself, right? So that's why these things are required. Then executive sponsorship and governance are required. Okay, so executive sponsorship and governance, secure executive sponsorship and establishment robust governance structure. Then measurement of success. Measurement of success means key performance indicator and metrics to measure the success of the NetSuite implementation. Regularly assess and report on these metrics to stakeholder, highlighting the tangible benefits and return on investment achieved. And then scalability. Scalability means how much you can change that application, how much you can modify the NetSuite application, because Oracle NetSuite has given you the facility to scalable and flexibility, the scalability and flexibility in NetSuite. You can develop your own script and you can deploy it. So changes in business requirements and emerging technologies, because nowadays so many tools can be integrated with NetSuite. So these are the some key takeaways. Celebrating milestones and successes, right? Recognize and celebrate milestones, achievements and successes. So throughout the implementation journey, all the things that we have covered, these are most important. These all are related to documentation and all these implementation process. Now in our tomorrow's session, we will see steps to migrate the data. How we will migrate the data. These are all we have today seen, the key takeaways, right? Then steps to implementation NetSuite. Okay, implementing the NetSuite. Migrating data is a different thing, right? Then how to create the BRD. We have today we have seen how to create the BRD. So this is all about today's session, that how we will move further with the initial step. Now in our tomorrow's session, I will show you the functional part, that how data is migrated and how it is validated, everything, right? So guys, this was all about today's session, and tomorrow's session is going to be most important. So I recommend you to be present on tomorrow's session also, tomorrow's webinar. That would be more important, right? So guys, thanks for attending the webinar. Thank you all of you. See you tomorrow.